Welcome to Statistics for Management. Here I am going to discuss the important questions and answers for all modules which is applicable to all the universities. So moving on to the discussion. So if you go through this, I'll promise you that you are going to clear the examination without any issue. Coming to the first unit, that is Introduction to Statistics. You may feel very comfortable if you go through it and you will get a whole idea about the subject within a simple and easy way. What is that? Statistics? Statistics is a science of collecting, then presenting, analyzing, interpreting the numerical data, and it will help for the decision making, business decision making. What is the importance of statistics of management? Helps to forecasting, planning, budgeting, quality control, and finally decision making in the business process. What are the scopes of statistics used in production, marketing, HR, finance, and research? Try to elaborate these answers. Then, functions of statistics simplifies the data, compare the variable, forecasting trends, and aids the decision making ultimately. What are the drawbacks? It only follows quantitative, can be misused, and do not show any cause and effect relation. What are the important statistical tool for that? For like doing different type of projects and analysis. One is SPSS, Minitab, Excel, and R programming and eViews. So, these are the few important questions from module one. Coming to the module number two, you have to focus the following questions. What is statistical survey? Plan for investigation of collecting the numerical data. What are the types of data? One is primary data, other one is secondary data. Primary data will be done through like a first-hand data, through the interview, survey, Delphi technique, etc. If I go to secondary data, it is already existing from the papers, from the literature, Kaggle data set, you might have heard about that. So we'll be getting so many data set which is already existing. That is called a secondary data. What is pilot survey? Just for the testing purpose. Whether it's a trial survey to like a survey to be test for the entire process. What are the steps in statistical survey? First of all, planning is done. Next, data collection. Later on, editing because some data may not be relevant. Those editing should be done. Later, coding. Finally, you have to prepare the tabulation, then perform the analysis and generate the reports. These are the important steps in the statistical survey, which is very important questions you have to explain individually. Now I'll be moving on to third unit, classification and tabulation and presentation. What is classification of data? Arranging the data into the groups based on the common features or characteristics. What do you mean by tabulation? Presenting the data into rows and columns for easy analysis. What are the types of diagrams available? Bar diagram, pie chart, histogram, then frequency, polygon, and ogive. These are the different type of diagram which will be helpful for statistical analysis. Difference between classification and tabulation. Classification is nothing but grouping of data, where tabulation is nothing but presenting the grouped data. Classification comes under logical process, where tabulation is basically mechanical process. These are the major differences which you can expect in the examination. Coming to measure and central tendency. What do you mean by mean? Average value showing the central point. Sigma x by n. What is median? Like a middle value of the divide data into equal parts. Then what is mode? The most frequent value which is available in the data set. That is called the mode. So mean for the normal data, median for skewed data, and mode for categorical data. The merits, which is very simple and widely used and which is stable. Draw merits are affected by the external values that will affect the mean. So these are the important point you have to go through from module number 4. Coming to module number 5, measure dispersion. What is dispersion? The degree to which the data values vary from the average. That is called a dispersion. Types of dispersion, one of the essay type questions. One is called a range, difference between maximum and minimum. Other one is called a quartile deviation, Q3 minus Q1 by 2. What is mean deviation? Summation of x minus x bar by n. What is standard deviation? Square root of sigma x minus x bar divided by n. That is called a standard deviation. Then central coefficient of variance, standard deviation upon mean into 100. That is called a coefficient of variance. Significance of standard deviation, which is used for measurement of spread, then reliable. Okay, so you can identify the relation between the data using the standard deviation. Use of like a CB, that is coefficient of variation. Compare the consistency minus lower CV, that is more consistent. Okay, so these are the important questions from module number 5. Coming to module number 6, which is merely on probability. What is probability? Like a number favorable outcome divided by total outcome, P of E. What is roles of probability? So addition rule, P of A union B, P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. Multiplication, P of A intersection B, that is equal to P of A into P of B by A. What is conditional probability? P of A on B, that is P of A intersection B by P of B. What is Bayes theorem? P of B by A into P of A by P of B. This is called Bayes theorem, which is very important for the statistics. Even machine learning and all, if you're studying, you'll be studying about the Bayes theorem, especially for the linear regression. So moving on to like a sample and estimation. What is sampling? Selecting a small part from the like a large population for the study is known as sample. Types of sampling: probabilistic sampling and non-probabilistic sampling. Probability sampling comes under random sampling, stratified, and cluster sampling, where non-probability sampling implies judgmental sampling and convenience sampling. What is standard error? Sigma divided by square root of n is known as standard error. What is confidence interval formula? X bar plus or minus z into standard error. That is actually called confidence interval formula. That is very important. What is estimation? Used to predict the population parameters based on the sample data is known as estimation. So these are the most important topic from unit number 7. Coming to unit number 8, what is hypothesis testing? Define hypothesis. Assumption about the population parameter to be tested statistically. That is called a hypothesis. The hypothesis includes 5 important steps. Initially, deciding formulate H0 and H1. Later on, level of significance you are supposed to define, that is alpha. Other one you have to go for like a different type of testing, either T testing or set testing or chi-square test or F test. Later on, calculate the test statistics. Compare the table value. You'll be accepting the hypothesis or rejecting the hypothesis. These are the 5 important steps for the hypothesis testing, which is very important for your exam point of view. You may get a numerical example for this particular question. Types of errors. One is type 1 error, other one is type 2 error. So type 1 error, reject H not. Type 2 error, accept the S not. False S not. Reject true S not is comes under type 1 error. Reject false S not comes under type 2. Difference between one-tailed and two-tailed test. One-tailed test is actually directional. Two-tailed test is non-directional. So these are the important points from unit number 8. Correlation and regression is very important for statistics. What is correlation? Statistical relation between two variables is known as correlation. What is Karl-Pearson coefficient? You can use this equation. What is Speakman's correlation? Please verify this equation. What is regression equation? Y is equal to a plus bx. Then interpretation, gamma is equal to plus 1, it's a perfect positive. Gamma is equal to minus 1, perfect negative. Those points also you can remember. So now moving on to unit number 10, which is very important, chi-square test. What is chi-square test? This test is independent of test of goodness of fit between the variable. Formula is given. So sigma observed minus sigma expected frequency by this expected frequency. That is E. What are the uses? Uses of this chi-square test. Test of independence of attributes. Test of goodness of it. These are the applications of chi-square test. Remember this formula. So you'll be getting a numerical example based upon chi-square test. ANOVA. ANOVA is nothing but analysis of variance. What is ANOVA? Compare the mean differences among 3 or more groups is known as ANOVA. What is the formula? Variance between the sample divided by variance within the sample. That is the most important definition for ANOVA. So here the condition is such a way that f call greater than f tab. Of course, the hypothesis is going to reject. What are the applications used in business to compare the scales, then productivity and the marketing strategy? Coming to unit number 12, that is time series analysis. What is time series? Data collected over the time at regular interval is known as time series. Example, what are the components? So one is time trend, other one is seasonal, later on cyclic, and last one is called regular. So trend equation. So you can study this trend equation. For example, y is equal to a plus bx. A is equal to sigma y by n. B is equal to sigma xy by x square. So you'll be getting so many questions based upon these assumptions. What are the uses of time series? Forecasting the true business trend. You can predict the trend. That is a major specialty of time series analysis. Okay. So index number is also important. What is index number? A statistical measure which show relative changes in the price or quantity over a time. That is called the index number. Formula is given I is equal to sigma PW by sigma omega. P omega by omega. Okay. So what P is nothing but price relative and gamma is nothing but 1. So remember this. What is the formula for index number? Sigma PW by sigma W into 100. That is actually index number, where P is known as price relative, W is known as weight. Then types of index number, price index number, quantity index number, and value index number. Try to remember those important points on what is price index number, what is quantity index number, later on value index number. So there is some formula like Fisher's ideal ideal index, that is equal to square root of IL plus IP. Similarly, cost of living index is equal to sigma PW by sigma W into 100. So these are the important questions from index number. So here, if you read this completely, you can appear for any university question and you can appear for any conceptual oriented questions without any issue. So keep the practicing and thoroughly study this topic. So even though you may get a question from numerical example, if you write some part of theory, so you'll be getting the marks. So you surely you'll be getting the partial credits. It's not like a uh, you should get a perfect answer. So perfect answer is highly desirable, but some relaxation will be there for the valuation. Okay. So if you have any queries, you can just raise the information or raise the query through the chat box. I'm going to reply. You can mail me also. So my mail ID is already given in the you can check the chat box or description box. I wish you all the very best for your exam point of view. Prepare well. Happy learning. Have a great day. Thank you all.